Hello, my name is Emily and welcome to Craft Camp. Today we are going to be making these very simple but adorable felt ball pumpkins. Alright, let's get started. For the base of our pumpkin, I picked out these fall colored felt balls, and we have the 4 centimeter size and the 3 centimeter size. To go with the colors, I picked out these embroidery threads to match and a selection of felts to make the stems with. All we need to create these are some embroidery needles, preferably a larger size. I also have this needle threader, and we'll be using hot glue. And of course, we'll need scissors. All right, let's get started. For our first pumpkin, I decided to use this terracotta color, which I think is a beautiful take on the classic orange pumpkin. I'll be using the 4 centimeter size for this demonstration. And to get the ball rolling, we're gonna start by squishing this guy down a little bit. We're just gonna make him a little bit flatter and not quite as round. This is pretty easy to do because these balls have a bit of air in them, but it might take a little bit of massaging to get the shape that you want. And for our needle, I've selected the largest size in our embroidery needle kit, and you can see that it will pierce through and I'll be able to pull it out from the other side. We don't want the needle getting lost in there. With the matching color of thread, I'll be using all 6 strands. And when I'm using all 6 strands, I find that the needle threader is very useful. It's difficult to get that many through the little eye. Once we have it on the needle, we'll just tie a little knot at the end. And this is going to get covered up by the stem, so don't worry about it if it doesn't look perfect. You can see the thinnest point right in the middle, and we'll just be sticking the needle straight through. Another tip, if you're having a hard time getting the needle out from the ball, you can use needle nose pliers or something similar just to pull it all the way through. There we go. Now that it's coming out the other side, we're just going to loop it around and put the needle back through, right through the same hole. And you can kind of watch it coming out the other side. Try to get it as close to the first puncture as possible, which is a little difficult because the ball is quite round. That's pretty close. We'll go right about there. Get our pliers. And with this first one, it's not quite as important where it lands, but after this, we're going to want to make sure that they're evenly spaced. And then I'm gonna pull it really tight to get that cute little crease. Now it's like a peach. And I'm just gonna go right opposite side and repeat that same thing. So you can see it on both sides. We'll pull it really nice and tight. Oops, sometimes mistakes happen, but that's okay. We'll just put it right back on the needle. To get that pumpkin look, I'm going to add one more thread right here. So I'm going to make sure there's just enough space between these two for that one to go there before I pull this one nice and tight. So that looks nice. And then the last one here, we'll just place it about where I want it and go back in. And that's 1/2 complete. So we're just gonna add 2 more and this little guy will be finished. All right, and I've got the last one lined up and I'm just gonna pull it. There we go. Beautiful. And to finish this off, we'll just tie a little knot right here at the base. To get the knot as close to the pumpkin as possible, create that loop and then stick the needle right back in there and then pull the string along the needle. And that will get it as close to the base as possible. And we'll be covering this little guy up with a stem. To create our stem, I have some cotton colored felt, and I'm just going to cut about 1.5 inches long and about 1 inch wide. And if we want to make it a little bit smaller once we have it rolled, we can. This doesn't have to be an exact size, so go ahead and just eyeball it. See, that's a little too long, so just cut a little off. There we go. And this is where we'll pull out our hot glue gun. You can use the high temp hot glue like this or the lower temperature if your fingers are sensitive. To get this started, I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue along one end, and then we'll gently roll it. And as I go, I'll just add a little bit more hot glue every once in a while, here in the middle, and then I'll do one right at the end. And press that closed with my fingers. I can tell already this is just a little bit too long, so I'm going to trim it. I think that looks good. And then we'll just hot glue this right onto our pumpkin. And I just bent it at a little bit of an angle to give it that natural, characteristic pumpkin look. And there we have our first pumpkin. All right, let's make a few more. And here we have it. I've made all of these variations of colors, shapes, and sizes. I think that they turned out adorably and they would go so well with any fall decoration. Thank you for joining us for Craft Camp, and we'll see you in the next one.